Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, the weekend is almost upon us. For some of you, that's important, and you can't wait for it, right? It's the weeks are just flying by. I guess it's because you're getting old. That's it. That's what they say. You get old, and then they just start zooming by. The president today is expected to sign an executive order changing the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War. That's not too surprising. He's been talking about that a lot. The thing is it's questionable of whether he can do that by executive order. It has always been Congress that has been assumed to have that power, so we'll see. I don't know that Congress will really push back against him on that. We'll see how that all plays out. But that is the scuttle, is that he's going to sign that executive order. Also, the National Guard that's been deployed in Washington, D.C., it was announced that they will stay on that deployment until November 30th. So about 3 more months still that they will be. Originally it was a couple of weeks, and then they talked about 30 days. Now it's much longer. And they will be under the Department of War, being there. And of course, there's plans to soon deploy the same up into Chicago and then other places. There's all kinds of other cities that's being talked about that they will deploy National Guard. Speaking of the military, Venezuelan F-16 fighter jets flew over some of our naval ships that's out there close to Venezuela. The report is that they were armed. They weren't just, flying by to say hi to them, but they were armed. The military has taken this as a threat. It shows that things are escalating for this military to fly armed fighter jets over our ships. I see that as an escalation myself. The first police department in the United States, Dearborn Heights, Michigan, they have now issued, announced a new patch, a new shield patch, that they wear on their shoulders. For the first time ever, this one has Arabic writing on it also. So where it says, city of police, blah, 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 beneath that, it says the same thing in Arabic. Well, it's because certain places, especially Michigan, are becoming very solidly Muslim. I don't know. Yeah, I get a lot of backlash for that one, but this isn't the country that you thought it was or that you grew up in. Just thought I'd let you know. Gold is continually going up. Unemployment is going up too. There are more job layoffs this past month than there has been in many years. There's a lot of jobs out there, but there's not a lot of hiring. And that's just another signal that things aren't well with the economy. But the biggest thing in the news, well, let me just get on with it. Last night, the president held a presidential dinner in the White House. This was announced, so we knew about it. And there was video last night and today out on it. The thing about this one is it was all of the big AI tech oligarchs were there present, and except Elon Musk. I don't know if he was invited or if he chose not to attend. I haven't seen any details on why Elon Musk was not there, but pretty much all the other big ones, Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, Facebook, on and on and on, all the big ones. And to one side of the president sat Bill Gates, and to the other side of the president sat Mark Zuckerberg. Now, there's already Trump supporters out there spinning this, saying that, this was just a troll. He's just trolling, or he's keeping his enemies close. You don't do those things at a big dinner in the White House, sitting there laughing and nodding your head at the things these guys said, and then praising them, because there's lots of video of it. At first with Mark Zuckerberg, he was praising Mark Zuckerberg and how much money that it's his company Meta is going to be dumping into the United States by development, construction, and stuff. And I want to just pause right there. That has been one thing that President Trump has bragged about that he's done, and that's caused these companies to, put money into the United States by building stuff. Well, a big portion of it, not all, but a big portion of all these companies building infrastructure and stuff, it's all because of AI. Yes, they're dumping tens and hundreds of billions of dollars into the economy by building, infrastructure and businesses and companies and stuff. It's AI data centers is what they're building, and they're building the infrastructure to run the AI data centers. So it's not like we're, it's mom and pop building a new factory to make tennis shoes. No, all of this praise of, these billions and billions of dollars that's being dumped into the United States, it's all developing, or at least a good portion of it is developing more AI data tracking centers, Skynet, the all-seeing eye, all of that stuff. So anyways, Mark Zuckerberg was saying that they estimate that between now and 2028, we're there again, at 2027 to 2030, those are some critical years. That between now and then, so over the next 3 years, that they estimate that they will spend about $600 billion in building the infrastructure and the buildings for all of this AI centers, building artificial intelligence to control you. While he was talking, President was smiling and nodding his head and, good on you. Then, and this was the big one, and this is the one that so many people are, it's just, he's trolling. This is part of the plan. This is the plan, and you just got to trust the plan because it's not exactly what you see. Bill Gates spoke, and he talked about, his history and career and blah, blah, blah. But then he talked about what he's doing now, and that his focus is developing new technologically advanced vaccinations, gene therapies. He flat out said that, and using this AI infrastructure to develop this stuff. This is the thing that we have been telling you about. The mRNA nanobots, controlled by AI, things put into your body that this artificial intelligence is going to be able to communicate with, all this kind of stuff. Gene therapy, going to make you a bioengineered human. While he's saying this, again, the president is sitting there smiling and nodding. Yeah. This is the future, folks. I've been warning you. I've warned you. I went back and I looked at my history here on YouTube. And it was right after the election. I lost hundreds, within a couple of days, hundreds and hundreds, like well over 1,000 subscribers. And I'm not complaining or whining about that. But the reason is because I warned that that the Trump administration was going to be the one that brings in this big AI technocracy. And then on day one of him getting inaugurated, that's when he had all the AI people there in the Oval Office, and they were talking about all the draconian things that they would be doing, spying on you and, medical AI and everything. And again, I talked about it and I lost a bunch of subscribers, and I'm not complaining. But I'm telling you, folks, this is why he was allowed to get into office. Because they needed this stuff to get done, and they needed the conservatives to shut up and buy into it. And they weren't going to buy into it with a Joe Biden or a Kamala Harris in office. So they need someone to sell it to the conservatives. Now, I know that when you're seeing what Bill Gates said about vaccines, you're like, yes, but at the same time, Robert Kennedy Jr. is, before Congress and Senate hearings, and he's saying that we're going to do away with mandates and that, vaccines are bad and and that they cause autism and all this kind of stuff for the YouTube censors. I'm just repeating what's being reported in the news, okay? Just cool, calm down. So there's a couple of angles I think that could happen. Number one, what Robert Kennedy Jr. is talking about are the traditional pokey pokes, okay? What Bill Gates is talking about are these new mRNA AI-created nanobot pokey pokes. Two separate things, okay? And so while they may, maybe the message is, oh, yes, we've got to do away with these things because they're bad and then they've caused all this damage. But these new ones won't. Or I think the other possibility is that maybe through Bill Gates and Trump's new friendship and stuff, Trump could turn on Robert Kennedy. It's possible because there's a huge amount of backlash right now on the internet from the left, warning that they're calling for RFK Jr.'s impeachment, that he's going to destroy America. There are several pretty decent influencers I've seen I think that they're probably onto something. Because it was just this week also that Florida dropped all pokey poke mandates. So if you send your kids to public school, there is now no mandate that they have any, not just the COVID, but any pokey poke. Well, it's very likely that we could see a pandemic pop up because of all of this. We're already seeing, there's already reports of things like measles and stuff that's on the rise. And of course, the CDC, there's reports that they're trying to sabotage RFK Jr., that there's all kinds of people within the Health and Human Services that's doing things. There's all kinds. These are reports. I'm not saying that they're true. I'm just saying this is what's being reported. Medical associations are speaking out and saying that this is dangerous. Several states on the East and the West Coast are trying to come together and put together their own kind of medical pack, kind of like their own CDC, a regional CDC. So it's also very possible that we could see in the next year or two a pandemic pop up that could scare everyone. See, this is what happens when you don't get the pokey pokes. We have this big disease. Oh, well, we got a fix for it. We got a new version, Pokey Poke 2.0. It's all created by AI. It's not going to make you sick. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to cure all your illnesses. You just take this poke and then everything's fixed. Something's up, folks. You don't have Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates partying with them and having meetings together and praising them and all this. And it'd be nothing. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take for people to wake up. But this is happening. Yeah, there's definitely things that needs to still take place for the full implementation of all of this. I get it. But they're working on that. The energy problem, that's probably the biggest one. They're working on these microfusion nuclear reactors or whatever they're called. You could power a small city. $500,000. And you've got enough energy for the next 50 years or so for a small city. That's one of the new big things. You're going to start hearing more and more about that over the next probably 6 to 12 months, because that's right there on the edge. This is a big deal. This is a big deal. That's part of what all this fight between us and BRICS and stuff. It's over energy. And the president this morning said that he says, I guess we've lost Russia and India to China. So, I mean, the battle lines have been drawn. The United States is going down an Orwellian dystopian path. We've got military on the streets. They're talking about gun confiscations and deporting people that are Americans just because they commit crimes or we don't like their politics. Yeah. It's a powder keg, folks, and I don't know if it's going to be war or civil war or collapse or whatever, that's the first thing that sets everything off. But there's a whole lot going on, and you need to be preparing just passionately. I think starting next week, that I don't have the time to do it today or this weekend, but starting next week, we'll start some discussions on, well, what can you do, how to protect yourself, how to hide things, how to, if this all gets bad, because if this AI infrastructure, if it really does get developed over the next few years, we've got to talk about ways to hide ourselves, hide things, to stay out of their purview. These are just conversations we need to start having. But we need to start doing stuff fast, because they are doing things very fast. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.